Hey, hello leaders, and welcome back to another video version of the podcast, Run to Your Leadership Challenges. Today we're continuing on the week's theme of discrimination, and I'm going to flip things a little bit today. I'm going to talk about legal discrimination. So this is episode number 324, and I have my semi-outline script that I'm going to be following. I'm reading a lot more this week because I'm dealing with discrimination, and it's a very legalistic topic. So I don't want to mess anything up. I want to try to give you the best information that I can. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. Got to plug in my mic first. All right, here we go. Hello leaders, and welcome back to another episode of Run to Your Leadership Challenges. This is episode number 324. Hey, this whole week we've been talking about discrimination in the workplace. And today we're actually going to switch things up a little bit and talk about legal discrimination, or discrimination that is permitted. So first of all, there are a couple of industries that can legally. So first of all, let me talk about a couple of industries that can actually legally discriminate. And this is just a couple. I'm sure there's many, many more out there. But first of all, our very own government can legally discriminate when it comes to military service members, just to name one thing. I'm sure there's a lot more out there that they discriminate against, or they're allowed to discriminate against. But they can discriminate as far as military service based on age, disability, physical fitness and or appearance, and in some cases against gender for specific jobs. Now, religious organizations are also exempt from hiring people based on religion to be pastors or ministers. Now that kind of makes sense, right? For example, a Baptist church can refuse to hire a Muslim person for their open pastoral position, and vice versa. Now, religious organizations have other certain exemptions as well. And the Supreme Court has recently ruled in favor of church for other types of discrimination cases, even though Title VII doesn't specifically exempt churches. The Supreme Court, however, ruled in their favor. Personally, you know, when we're talking about discrimination and ethics and treating people right, I would hope churches are the most ethically sound organizations around. Wouldn't you? After all, they are being judged by a much higher authority than our legal system, right? So, when talking about specific types of discrimination that the law allows, one particular example is bona fide occupational qualification, or BFOQ, which is discrimination based on a characteristic that is not protected. For example, if you have a company in New York City that works closely with the New York Yankees, you can reject hiring somebody just because they're a Red Sox fan. And believe me, I'm a Yankee fan. I wouldn't want to hire a Red Sox fan either. Hey, in all seriousness though, 26 years in the military, some of my very closest friends were Red Sox fans. I don't know what happened there. I guess we just have similarities. We have that passion for the game. So anyway, now keep in mind, there are other factors that come into play as far as this example. And you need to get legal advice if you're seeking exception for using the BFOQ. Generally, to use the BFOQ, the organization must be able to prove it is reasonably necessary to the normal operation of that particular business or specific job. Additionally, an organization must be able to prove two specific things. First of all, the BFOQ concerns a characteristic that is directly needed for the job, or the operation of the business depends on the discrimination based on that specific trait. And the basis for discrimination is supported by verifiable reasons. You must provide specific facts, statistics, studies to support your reason, etc. So the example of the Red Sox fan not being hired by a company that works directly for the New York Yankees, that's a proven fact that there's some major hatred in that rivalry. Okay, and the discrimination might be based on a specific trait that you can provide a lot of facts and figures there probably. And plus, being a Red Sox or a Yankee fan is not protected under Title VII. All right, the big seven that you got: the race, color, the national origin, sex, age, disability, and gender orientation. Okay, there's the seven. So being a Red Sox or Yankee fan is not protected under the law. Finally, another type of legal discrimination is affirmative action. For example, schools may have admissions policy that favor a specific race over another. Now, affirmative action is a legal topic that deals with issues, laws, and policies that go much deeper than we're going to get into here. So I would encourage you to research it, go online, and get schooled up on that. Now, I've only scratched the surface here today. So I encourage you to dig deeper on your own. Go online, search for these various topics, and continue to educate yourself continue to educate yourself in your leadership journey. Hey, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges. Okay, so that is the recorded long version of the podcast. I'll edit that down to about 2.5 minutes maybe. Went a little bit longer because I did read quite a bit of stuff and the facts and figures. But just think, legal discrimination, that BFOQ that we talked about, or that bona fide occupational qualification, you need to have specific reasons to use that. Religious preferences is a bona fide occupational qualification, and that allows you to use the fact of, if you're applying for this job, you must be of this religion, but it must be directly tied to the job. So that job, if somebody, say if you're looking to hire somebody and they could do that job and still believe in another religion, you might not be able to use BFOQ there, because now if it's a pastoral position or if it's a pastor or a minister position, yeah, of course they cannot. But if they're just opening the door for people, they don't necessarily, that's not totally required for them to have a certain belief to work in your church. So there's other things, and I want you to dive deep into this. Get a hold of your legal department if you have one in your organization, or seek advice from lawyers that specify or specialize in discrimination law, because there is so much and it can go deep, and I am definitely not the expert in this particular field, but I encourage you to educate yourself, dig deep. All right? So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this as far as legal discrimination. And tomorrow we're going to close out with the weekend edition. Or no, tomorrow's Friday, I believe. So tomorrow, come on back and we're going to talk about some another type of discrimination we're going to get into. I haven't decided yet. So if you have a favorite, be sure to email me and say, hey, please talk about this discrimination. Hey, until tomorrow, thank you for listening or watching in this case, and have a great rest of the day and run to your challenges.